Hey friends, Bruce with Cross Country 3. This is the Sentinel broadcast. You know, going from resilience to restoration can be a long haul. It requires that we dig deep, physically, mentally, and spiritually too. Fortitude and resolve are absolute non-negotiables. You got to overcome attacks from without, attacks from within. Those that you thought were loyal, who turned out to be anything but. At times, it seems that you had nowhere to go and you were uncertain about your future. The future, as a matter of fact, looks pretty bleak, but you don't give up, you don't give in, you don't quit. Instead, you choose to stay the course, and victories start to pile up. Memories are made. Pride, the good kind of pride, and confidence returns. Your self-identity is now more sure and stronger than ever. You've been refined through the fire. Well, dear friend, that's the story of America. America, the beautiful. Speaking of beautiful, you and I have been across this country, I'm sure. I know I have enjoyed visiting many places, and I've treasured many more than others. And I don't know about you, but in America, my nation by birth, my nation by choice, it's places like Mount Rushmore, the Grand Tetons, the Golden Gate Bridge, the Grand Canyon, the Lewis and Clark Trail, the Everglades, the Alamo, the Washington Monument, and so much more. For now, I think about a place in Lower Manhattan called Bowling Green Park. It's right there next to the Charging Bull. This is where General George Washington had the Declaration of Independence read to his troops. They were so inspired that they immediately went, took down, and broke up the statue of King George. Ultimately, they used that and some other things there to create lead for their ammunition. I also remember standing not just near Bowling Green Park, but near the place where Washington, not soon thereafter, crossed the Delaware River. He and his soldiers crossed that frigid river, ultimately overcoming an unsuspected enemy. Ultimately, they go on to Trenton, and they go on to Princeton, where the battles of Trenton and Princeton took place. All that began on December 25th, 1776, culminating on January 3rd in 77. In short, this new American army sat on the verge of utter destruction by the banks of the Delaware River. But rather than submit to defeat, Washington and his small band of soldiers crossed that ice-filled Delaware River, and with resolve, with resilience, they attacked the garrison at Trenton in New Jersey on the day after Christmas. He followed that up with the surprise attack and successful actions at Princeton. They were on the move. Yes, resilience, resolve, fortitude, faith, family connection, and fighting for freedom. This was the motivation of General George Washington and his men. In a sense, we're there now in America. The battle is still ongoing. Evil wants to destroy those very virtues. So we must remain alert, vigilant. Like sentinels, we are warriors for truth. We're watchmen that stand on the wall and we protect, especially the vulnerable and the innocent. We're not afraid to get in the fight. Freedom is always one generation away from being removed. I hope we've learned that. But we have a firm foundation, dear friend. You know, the Apostle Paul said to the church in Corinth, let's stand firm in the faith. Act like men. Be strong. Be courageous. And let all that you do be done in love. We ought to learn that, and we ought to embrace it. In America as a whole, we like to do it right, generally. No shortcuts, no quitting, no sitting on the sidelines, like the man in the arena that Teddy Roosevelt spoke about. We got to get this right. We must be resilient. We must move forward with resolve and with fortitude. We can do this together. So let's stand firm in the faith. Let's support America's families. Let's secure our freedom. Let's be the sentinels, the warriors and the watchmen who are fighting the good fight of faith. We get involved where we see God moving, and God is moving through many men and women and boys and girls in our nation. Let's make sure that we're not sitting on the sidelines. If we're tired and if we're weary, let's make sure that we get up and try again. Let's be resilient. Let's build toward full restoration where America can be at its very best. And just like God intended in this wonderful nation that we live in, that is not an accident, but an intention and determined by God himself, I believed, through the faithful men and women that settled here, this nation has become a light. Let's keep it a light and make that light shine as brightly in the world as it can shine. Thanks for listening. Till next time, Godspeed.